What if you could store garlic for an entire year, without a fridge, without vinegar, and without sugar? No soft cloves, no sprouting, just fresh, usable garlic, all the way through winter. The Amish do it every year, and they don't rely on electricity to make it happen. Through careful methods passed down for generations, they've mastered ways to preserve garlic that are both simple and powerful. From ancient brining techniques to honey fermentation, even oil preservation, these methods lock in flavor, keep the cloves firm, and prevent mold without chemicals or waste. It's not just Amish families either. You'll find off-grid communities across the world doing the same thing, with only a few ingredients and a cool shelf. And today, you'll see exactly how. Most store-bought garlic start strong, but then the problems show up. Mold, sprouting, cloves that go soft, then slimy, even when kept in a dry pantry. So what goes wrong? In most cases, it's air exposure, residual moisture, and sometimes the wrong kind of salt. Even something as simple as iodized table salt can throw off a preservation batch. That's why Amish families do it differently. They follow 3 simple principles. Remove air. Encourage good bacteria. Keep mold out naturally. It's less about killing bacteria and more about keeping the right kind alive. They often use pickling salt, pure, without iodine or anti-caking agents that cloud the brine or break down the garlic. One person on the internet said it best. Pickling salt made the difference. My table salt ruined 2 jars before I figured it out. And it's not just about storage. In Amish tradition, garlic is medicine. It's strength for the cold months. One old farmer used to say, "If your garlic lasts the winter, so will your health." That's why their methods aren't rushed. Every step protects the flavor and the body. One of the oldest and most trusted Amish garlic preservation methods is brining. It's simple, natural, and it works. Start with a clean glass jar, freshly peeled garlic cloves, and a good quality non-iodized salt, preferably pickling salt. Table salt contains iodine and other additives that can turn the brine cloudy and break down the garlic over time. The ratio is simple. 1 tablespoon of salt per 1 quart of clean water. Some folks still use the old egg floating method. Drop a raw egg in its shell into the brine. If it floats, your salt level is high enough. But for consistency, the measured tablespoon is safest. Avoid tap water if it has chlorine. It can weaken or even kill the natural bacteria needed for fermentation. Use filtered or boiled and cooled water whenever possible. Once the garlic is packed in, make sure it's fully submerged beneath the brine. This is where fermentation weights come in, like that clear glass or ceramic disc you might have seen in some videos. One guy on the internet asked, "What's that clear disc on top of the garlic?" That's a fermentation weight, and it keeps the cloves from rising above the liquid where mold can start. If you don't have one, you can use a clean cabbage leaf or even a small glass pebble sanitized in boiling water. You'll know your brine is active when tiny bubbles begin to rise, usually in the first 2 to 4 days. There'll be a pleasant, sour smell, not sharp or rotten, but earthy and alive. If it smells like garlic, a bit tangy, and the water's clear, you're doing it right. Would you try this brine recipe yourself? Let me know in the comments, and if you've got your grandma's version, we'd love to learn how she did it. This method keeps garlic flavorful, firm, and shelf-stable for months, and all it takes is water, salt, and time. The next method that most people seem to be using and sharing is garlic preserved in raw honey. Safe, simple, and incredibly powerful. Amish families and many off-grid households have used this technique not just for storage, but as natural medicine. Peel fresh garlic cloves and make sure they're bone dry. Moisture is the enemy here. Place them into a clean jar. Slowly pour raw, unfiltered honey over the top, covering all the cloves. That's it. No cooking. No additives. Just 2 ingredients and time. No fridge required. Just store the jar in a dark, cool cabinet. Over time, the garlic will soften and the honey will thin, creating a syrupy infusion that's good for over a year. The bonus? It's delicious and medicinal. Use a spoonful for sore throats or stir it into hot tea during winter. Many believe it helps with immunity, inflammation, and even digestion. Always use clean, dry cloves. Even a drop of water can introduce bacteria or cause fermentation too quickly. This method isn't just preservation, it's preparation. A sweet jar of health on the shelf, made the old way, that asks for nothing but patience. Now, this next method is one you'll see often recommended. But it comes with a serious warning. Garlic preserved in olive oil, it looks beautiful and tastes incredible. But it can also be dangerous if done incorrectly. Here's why. Garlic is low acid, and when submerged in oil without air, it creates the perfect anaerobic environment for botulism spores to grow. And those spores are odorless, invisible, and potentially deadly. So, is it ever safe? Yes, if done with caution and proper prep. The key is to dehydrate the garlic fully before putting it in oil. When garlic is dried until crisp, either with a dehydrator or by low oven heat, the moisture is gone and the risk drops drastically. A guy have shared this incredible tip. Do not refrigerate oil garlic. Dehydrate the cloves first, then jar them with oil and store in a dark cabinet. Still, many food safety experts recommend keeping oil-packed garlic in the fridge and using it quickly. So while the Amish have used oil in some older traditions, it's not their most trusted method today. Brining and honey are safer, longer-lasting, and far more common. If you do try oil storage, do your research, take precautions, and don't cut corners. Sometimes a method looks simple, but it demands respect. One quiet trick Amish families use to make garlic last even longer and taste even better is adding herbs. Not just for flavor, but for preservation. Rosemary is one of the most common. It's naturally antibacterial, antifungal, and helps protect the garlic from early spoilage. Many off-grid homes say just a sprig can extend shelf life, especially in honey jars and brine mixtures. Thyme is another favorite. Strong in aroma, but gentle in action, it boosts both preservation and taste. It pairs beautifully with garlic and blends well in oil and fermented styles. Place herbs at the bottom of the jar before adding garlic, then tuck another sprig or two in near the top. This helps release essential oils slowly, adding protection from within. Some families even use oregano, bay leaves, or black peppercorns in their jars, each bringing its own subtle benefit. For the Amish, this isn't just about food safety. It's about creating something balanced, flavorful, and enduring. Simple ingredients, layered wisely, preserved with purpose. Let's clear up one of the most common mix-ups in food preservation. Pickling and fermenting are not the same thing. Even though they both make garlic tangy, here's the difference. Pickling uses vinegar. It's fast, sharp, and shelf-stable. But it doesn't support probiotics. It just preserves through acidity. Fermenting uses salt and thyme. No vinegar. Just good bacteria turning natural sugars into lactic acid. That's what gives fermented garlic its gut-friendly, probiotic-rich benefits. So which do the Amish prefer? Almost always, fermentation. It's slower, but it creates food that's alive, not just preserved. It also doesn't rely on commercial vinegar or store-bought ingredients. Many old Amish recipes don't even mention vinegar at all. Just salt, clean jars, patience, and a root cellar shelf. Once you know the difference, you'll taste the difference. Garlic isn't the only thing the Amish preserve with these timeless techniques. Once you know the basics, brining, fermenting, and honey preserving, you can use the same principles for other strong healing foods. Red onions. Slice thin, pack into jars with saltwater brine, and let them ferment. They turn soft pink, tangy, and beautifully mellow, perfect for salads and winter meals. Horseradish. Grated horseradish root can be stored in brine or vinegar, but some Amish families let it ferment first to bring out deeper flavor and natural heat. Ginger. Peeled ginger slices go wonderfully in honey or salt brine. After a few weeks, you've got a zesty, preserved root that's great for digestion and cooking alike. Bays. Cubed or sliced. They're often brined with bay leaf or clove. The fermentation deepens the color and brings out a natural sweetness that vinegar pickling can't match. Each of these foods carries its own flavor and benefit, and they all follow the same slow, clean rhythm. Let us know in the comments, which one should we cover next? Canning and jarring? Drying and dehydration? Or smoking and salting? Your pick might be the next Amish food we uncover. Whether you brine it, ferment it in honey, or even store it in oil, garlic remains one of the oldest and most respected preserved foods on Amish homesteads. It's strong, It's simple. And with these time-tested methods, it can be part of your pantry too. You don't need electricity. You don't need vinegar. You just need patience and the right process. The more we return to old wisdom, the more we realize it still works.